No.
Still not ahead of a shot. But no Republican could beat Hickenlooper with Tancredo in the race.
All right, but I'm
no
saying
Republican.
without
Doesn't matter how good you are. Yeah.
I mean, right now, the generic ballot, and that's the term for would you vote for a Republican or a Democrat for governor, right now, for the first time in my life, and I've been here since I was 6 years old, Republicans have like a 9-point advantage just in that generic balance. This is our year.
It is.
Without
we're making you happy.
Without Tancredo, the right Republican, under all the right circumstances, could still beat him. But
not
who is
Dan
that
Mays.
Republican? It's not going to beat Dan Mays.
All right. What will Tancredo do? Will he drop out? Let's try it this way. I'm going to go back. I think McGinnis had the potential of dropping out because once you showed McGinnis the polls that he couldn't win, once you showed him that the governor's conference isn't going to give him any money, that he's not raising any money, that he is going to lose, and it's going to hurt his private business when he does, I could see him saying, for the good of the party, I'm going to step out. Hank Brown, Jane Norton, anybody else is going to run. Will Dan Mays drop? If we showed him the exact same things.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I can't imagine why he would. I mean, he's won in a miracle race that nobody thought he could possibly win. Why would you step out now? I mean, what would be the point? I'm sure he believes, as much as he believes that the UN is about to swoop down here with bikes from the sky, that
they use
he
helicopters
can win.
from the sky, bikes from up
okay. I knew it was
down below.
like that he thinks he can win. He thinks he can win, and so. Why in the world would he drop out? The question is whether Tom will drop out, Tancredo, and I think there's a reasonable chance that Tancredo will drop. Running for governor is hard. It's hard. He knows he can't win.
He doesn't know he can't win.
No, Tom knows he can't win. He knows that he's been around politics, longer than we have, and he knows he can't win. And it's a lot of work to run to actually raise all that money to go. I mean, he loves campaigning. It's not hard for him to campaign, but raising enough money to do all this, it's a lot of work.
He's going to raise many times more than Mays will raise.
Oh yeah.
He's got a fan base around the country.
Second. He'll finish second.
Oh, he'll finish second.
Yeah.
Right.
But finishing second, what does that get you?
What's the difference? I'm talking politically. What would be the difference between Governor Mays and Governor Tancredo? This is the battle of the egos that I can't imagine. They're 99% the same, aren't they, on the issues?
Well, I haven't heard Tom Tancredo talking about the UN much.
Are you kidding? He tried to get a constitutional amendment to stop the UN from taking our guns.
Right, but he's not worried about bicycles.
He's worried about the UN taking our guns, not giving us bicycles. All right,
exactly.
agreed.
So very different position.
He hates the UN just as much.
I would not say that he and Mays seem exactly like the same in their positions.
What's the big policy difference? I'm talking policy.
Legalizing pot.
All right.
And if that comes out with Tancredo, he could get a fair number of votes.
He could. Maybe that's what's going to pull aside to get the pot crowd.
I think they're not very much
Hippies
different.
like you will vote for him because you're going to get pot. Finally.
You can get it now in Denver, can't you? I mean, it's...
like you wouldn't know.
I think that Tancredo and Mays are very similar in their policy thinking, and I think if they both stay in the race, if they do, it's very, very bad, if we can segue here, for Ken Buck. I think it's going to be very difficult for Ken Buck, one, to disassociate himself particularly from Tancredo, and because it will anger a lot of Tancredo people if he does. And I think also it's going to be difficult to be heard. I mean, the one thing that Tom is best at, is being heard. He knows how to get his name in the newspaper. He knows how to get his face on TV. And I think there's only so much oxygen out there. And I think for Buck, it's a very bad thing if both of these guys are in the race.
I don't know if I agree, because Tancredo will endorse him, Mays will endorse him, and Buck is just going to say, I don't care.
So what is he going to say when these two guys say, we got to get out of the United Nations, and this is their debate, and I go up to Ken and say, well, what do you think about the United Nations, Ken?
Ken will say, we give too much to the United Nations. We're not going to get out, but these countries should pay their weight.
So I'm saying, is Tancredo, you're the one who said Tancredo is nuts. You think he really is nuts?
He'll tell you he's nuts. That's why he's my buddy.
I'm saying that's going to be a difficult thing for him. If you have to answer for these other guys in the race, I think it makes it tough for you in the race.
But all he has to say is, hey, I'm not answering for them. I'm not those candidates. He should be able to sidestep that one in his boots, with or without
I think
Weld County
the
BS.
big Republican victory last night, by my estimation, is Romanoff losing. I don't care if it was Jane or if it was Ken. Romanoff losing, for me, he was the more dangerous candidate. That he was the guy who could say, hey, I'm not part of the Washington scene. I'm not part of the Obama scene. As a matter of fact, Obama wouldn't even endorse me. I didn't vote for health care. I didn't vote for the stimulus. He could do all that, and he has the ability to connect with voters. I think, as a partisan Republican, the biggest victory for us was Romanoff losing.
Romanoff did go, however, way left of Bennett during the campaign. I mean, he's single payer. I mean, if you're a Republican and you start saying,
but it doesn't matter. We've got an Ivy League elitist senator right now who's going to be painted as Obama's boy, and that's not going to do well this year. No, that seat is ours.
I agree with that, and I agree with that. And I think the biggest problem Republicans have is that with the governor's race, with no money coming into the governor's race, when they get out the vote, you saw how effective Bennett was in getting out the vote in this race. And when you talk about getting out the vote, you'll have the Hickenlooper machine, and you'll have the Obama machine working with Bennett, and that's going to be basically twice as much money as Republicans are going to have for the very same thing to do.
You are again underestimating the Mays machine of getting out the vote. Well, the name recognition alone.
I thought they could go on bikes, but now it's out.
Well, and that is one of the issues, because I talked to Republicans who said, I just couldn't decide, so I didn't go vote. Now, will that come again, or will they get over the dilemma of whether or not they vote for Tancredo or Mays in order to go support Buck? And I think they would.
You see Hickenlooper, Hickenlooper is always going to have been a problem for Republicans because he's like Bill Owens in that he's got this centrist face.
Centrist face, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what his policies are. If you can convince people that you look like a centrist, you are a centrist. So, Bill Owens was very conservative. He didn't look like he was very conservative. John Hickenlooper is in many ways very liberal. He doesn't look very liberal, and that's the key to winning. That's the key to winning
columnists
in the state.
I know that look very liberal.
and
I agree with you in that here's a simple theory of politics. A third of the voters in Colorado will vote D, a third will vote R, and the middle third, the unaffiliated, they vote for somebody they like. Right. Bill Owens was likable until you really got to know him.
Yeah.
And then Hickenlooper is really likable until you get to know him.
And Dan Mays is?
Actually, Dan Mays is likable. I like Dan Mays.
Tancredo's likable.
All right, let's do the magic wand test here.
Yeah.
Mays wakes up tomorrow morning and goes, this has been a great ride, but I just got offered a nice job in Linegar's office selling real estate, and I could use a real job.
Get my own balloon.
And so I'm gonna drop out. There's not going to be a Republican. It's just going to be Tancredo, or Tancredo gets nominated to fill the Republican vacancy. Could Tancredo beat? I haven't seen this poll. The Denver Post did all these great polls about a three-way race. I haven't seen the polls on the two-way race. Do you think Tom could win? This is the Republican year.
If Tom becomes the Republican candidate, are you saying?
Let's
the
say.
Republican Party would actually...
Yeah, let's just say.
Well, that will never happen.
Dan Mays wasn't supposed to win the nomination. This is a weird year. Who knows? Let's just say it.
Okay, if he became the official Republican candidate,
right,
Tancredo, possibly.
I think it's more than possible in that, one, people do like him if they don't agree with him. He's self-effacing. Also, the thing that he has said over and over, and I agree with, I think Hickenlooper's got a glass jaw. Even these commercials that Tom's doing right now about
sanctuary cities.
Sanctuary cities. I'm going to hit him where he lives. That's effective. Give that with a Republican year, I think that's possible.